you humans of the internet. Welcome to this Gallant Horde level 15 interview with Alex, who plays Harper in the Gallant Horde. Hi, Alex.
Hi.
Thanks for joining me on this early Sunday morning for both of us, because we're in the same time zone.
That makes things easier.
To talk about you and the Horde and Harper. So I guess let's start with Alex. Do you want to tell us a little bit about you and Dungeons and Dragons, and how long you've been playing Dungeons and Dragons, and why you like it, and anything else you want to tell me about that?
Oh geez, there's a lot there.
I know.
So I started with tabletop RPGs in general when I was like 14. It's like 2012. Second
Oh
year
my
of high
god, you're
school.
so young. Sorry, carry on.
I'm 24. I am an adult.
You're a baby. Anyway, yes.
Still an adult. But yeah, so I started playing Pathfinder, and I played that for probably 2 to 3 years, and it was addicting. But my god, is it complicated!
I've never played.
And then when my Game Store switched to playing D&D in 2015, I switched because it was easier because everyone else was playing it. And yeah, I think my first character in D&D 5e was also a wizard, so coming full circle on that one.
Cool. I mean, I feel like people do pick, like, people have favorites.
Yep, for sure. Wizard is probably not my favorite class, but I do really enjoy just playing spellcasters.
Yeah, fair enough. Okay. So how did you find the Horde? I think I know the answer to this question. Tell the audience.
So, I played in the Battle Royale that you did, was it 2.5
was
years
the very
ago now?
first, yeah. No, not quite
It
the
was
first. It was the second thing we did. The first was the Amnesia game. Yeah.
It was like August 2020 or something, right in the middle of the pandemic.
Yep.
Yeah. And so it's how I first got involved with Sparrowball. And
we weren't even called that at that point, but yeah.
No.
Yep.
But and then I think I got into the Horde because Megan was playing. And I became quite good friends with Megan. And I was like, well, let's give it a shot, see how it goes. And if I don't like it, I don't have to stay.
Yep.
It's been nearly a year. So I'll let that one speak for itself.
Yep. I guess you stayed.
I guess I liked it.
I guess so. So the Horde is a weird format, deliberately so, because it's not a campaign in the usual sense, but it does. So it's a series of one-shots, but it does have a certain continuity as well. What is that like as a player for you? The like dip in and out kind of vibe.
To start with, it was very confusing because I was not around a lot in RP.
Which is fine.
Yeah,
it's a legit
a lot
choice.
of people are like that.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was a lot of fun as well, like getting to do a bunch of different things, which I think the main thing. Because often, like when you play an overarching campaign, you've got one story that you're kind of locked into, which is not a bad thing if you're bought into that and you know that that's happening. But I do also just like being able to do vastly different things.
Yeah.
It's like, I think my first mission was the Belashara mission.
Yeah.
And so retrieving that thing, and then I threw a knife at probably an Elder Brain at level 5, which was an incredible decision, and I nearly died.
It wasn't quite an Elder Brain, but yeah, it was
a brain in a bath.
It was definitely on those lines, but scaled down a bit so that you didn't all completely die immediately. Because
Even
I tried.
Then I still nearly died immediately.
Yeah. Amazing. I'd forgotten about that.
I haven't.
No, well. Cool. Yeah, it's been interesting because it wasn't originally intended just as a series of one-shots. Like the stuff that happens in between the one-shots now was not part of our original plan at all. That just evolved by itself. I think we had 2 channels in the Discord. One was out of character and one was in character at the start. And now there are like 5,000. Yeah, no, I don't know. It's a lot.
Too many.
A lot. And they're all always busy. It's crazy. But yeah. let's talk about Harper.
Yep.
So Harper got just dumped at the lady's feet, fleeing
Yep.
their home.
Yep.
Which is different to most people who choose to come to the Horde. Do you want to talk about that a little bit? How was that as a character?
Probably quite confusing.
I would say so.
Like, confusing, and I think to start with, that definitely instilled some fear of the lady into Harper that hasn't entirely gone away. Like, the more Harper learns about her, the more they are still afraid of her and what she could do to them. But that's not necessarily a bad thing.
No. She is very powerful. There's no denying that. Yeah.
But yeah, so Harper was fleeing their home and ran straight into the desert with no plan.
No plan.
Absolutely no plan, which is probably the stupidest thing they could have done. If we're being completely honest. And yeah, they basically just wandered until they were picked up and dumped at the lady's feet. They don't know how they got there.
Neither does she. Exactly. She has suspicions, but yeah. Interesting. So still scared of her, huh?
Yep.
Despite the fact that Harper's gotten really powerful now.
Yep.
But still, is it... What do I want to ask? Is it distrust, or is it just, I know how powerful she is, and that's scary?
It's not so much distrust as much as the fact that Harper knows how powerful they're getting and how indebted they are to the lady, and that the lady could use them as a weapon, and that's the last thing they want.
Oh, I see. Okay. They
are very afraid of being used as a weapon.
Right. Gotcha. Okay, interesting. So Harper's had some pretty huge things happen getting to this point, just within the Horde space. So you went back home and retrieved your family from the evil lich that had them captive and brought the lich back with you.
We did do that.
Which was a choice that you made.
Yep.
How's Harper doing with all of
that? Harper is currently grappling with the fact that the lich is still there. And they did promise Zook that they were going to destroy the phylactery.
They did make that promise, yes.
They haven't done it yet.
No.
But they also haven't been using the phylactery.
I don't think Zook cares. Yeah. I mean, cares, but you know.
Yeah. Yeah, the phylactery is currently in the walls of their house. Like, they can't get to it. And they're currently trying to decide whether they want to talk to the lich again or not.
Why would they do that?
Not necessarily talk to him, but talk at him.
Right.
And try and get some closure for all the things that they went through and just unload all of this anger that they have and be able to direct it at him.
Interesting. Do they realize that that could be dangerous?
Yes.
Okay.
Absolutely.
I hope that they decide to do it, because that would be very entertaining for me.
It's probably going to happen.
Yeah. I'm not sure it's the best decision on Harper's behalf, but, you know, whatever.
Intelligence and wisdom are two separate stats.
Yeah, I am aware. How different is Harper as a result of that mission? Because I feel like that mission was obviously it was a very significant one for Harper. What do you think changed before and after, if anything? Did anything change?
There were a few things that changed, but I think the biggest one was that was the first time that they were ever cut off from magic.
Oh, yeah.
With the anti-magic field, and that scared them, because that was a moment of they really couldn't defend themselves without their magic.
Yep.
And they were face to face with the lich and surrounded by all of its minions.
Yep.
And so it was that moment of, oh shit,
Mm-hmm.
I don't actually have anything to fall back on.
Mm. Is that something that is being addressed? Have they considered finding something to fall back on in those situations, or not? Apart from being friends with Eclipsis, which is a pretty good fallback, but you know.
Yeah. Eclipsis has saved their life 5 times
Yep.
now, 4 or
Yep.
5 times. It
Yep.
just keeps happening.
Right,
And
but
it's
Eclipsis
probably
might
going to
not
happen
always be
again.
there.
Yeah.
Is the thing. So, what is there a plan for that, or is it just don't get into that situation?
A little bit of column A, a little bit of column B. Don't let it happen again, but if it does, get better at fighting. They've been sparring sometimes with their mother.
Okay. Yep.
With their staff, and just trying to get better at that.
Yeah.
Because like they can use it, they're just not particularly strong, so they're
Yeah.
not particularly good at hitting things.
Yep. They need to learn how to use a crossbow.
Maybe.
You can do that from a distance.
Yeah.
Interesting. Okay. This has all gotten way out of order because of the way we've spoken about things, but that's okay. Do you? So, in the Horde, we've sort of already spoken a little bit about what Harper thinks of the lady. Did the revelation of who she is change anything, or was it just like, oh yeah, she is really fucking powerful? That's a thing.
It was almost a relief because
Okay.
Harper knew something was up. They knew that the lady was powerful, and their only frame of reference for creatures beyond mortal power was a lich.
Right.
And so I believe they asked her straight to her face if she
I
was
think
a
so.
lich.
Yep. And she was like, no, gross.
Yeah. But knowing that that's not what she is, and that she
Yep.
is something more benevolent and as much as a fey creature can be, was a relief.
Cool. Does that make her more trustworthy?
Yeah, I mean, like I said, it's not that Harper doesn't trust the lady.
Oh, yeah.
They do.
Just not. Yeah. I get it because the lady clearly has a very specific agenda. Yeah. And having powerful wizards on her side is definitely helpful with that agenda. Interesting. What about your fellow Horde members? Are they people that Harper feels particularly attached to? Or, flip side, particularly dislikes, and why?
I don't think there's anyone that Harper particularly dislikes. There's people that they haven't met or they haven't interacted with much. They don't really have an opinion of them. Mm-hmm. But I think the ones that Harper feels like they have the strongest connection with are the people that they kind of interact with and respect the most as well would be Eclipsis and Morwen.
Oh, yeah. That makes sense. Why? I mean, Eclipsis has saved your life a lot, so that's probably why, but what is it about Morwen?
It's just how much she cares. And how much of a friend that Morwen has been to Harper and to their family.
She looked after the babies. That's basically I feel like that's a big thing. Yeah, when you look after the babies, that's yeah. What I'm not even going to say, do you have any? Because I know the answer to that. What are Harper's deeper motives being in the Horde? Because I know they were dumped here, but they've definitely taken advantage of the situation.
Yeah.
So tell me about that. Where's Harper going?
I think they definitely know how to make the best of a bad situation or an unexpected situation. And to start with, it was about power. It was about attaining power and being able to go back and get their family. Mm-hmm. And now it's similar, but it's about protecting people instead. Because like that's always been a thread with them. They're an abjuration wizard. Yeah. First they learned to protect themselves. Now they're protecting other people. They don't want anyone to get hurt on their watch or die on their watch. And so that's kind of what they're trying to achieve, is to just make sure nothing bad happens to anyone, which is hard in a group of people that seem to be out to get themselves killed on the regular.
Yep. Yep. I'm gonna fight a T-Rex just for funsies. Yep.
Yep.
What about when they're done with the Horde? Then what?
They want to find somewhere where they can teach.
Oh. Cool. Teach wizards, I assume.
Yeah.
Nice wizard college somewhere.
Yeah. Or even just teaching kids how to read and write, sort of thing.
Oh, okay.
You know, they'd love to teach magic, but they'd also teach other things.
Harper's going to be a kindergarten teacher. That would be so cute.
It would
Level
be
20
adorable.
wizard. Level 20 wizard. Kindergarten teacher.
Yeah. No, ain't no one gonna fuck with that kindergarten class.
No, those kids will be the safest kids ever.
Yeah.
Oh, that's pretty great. Oh, that's kind of sweet. It's kind of a lovely future plan, honestly. When everyone else is like, they've got big stuff, and Harper's just like, I just want to teach children.
Yeah.
Do you have I guess you, Alex, but also your character, and they don't have to be the same, have a favorite mission that you've done?
I think the answer is the same for both, and it would have been the Lich mission.
Yeah, I figured that was going to be the answer.
Yeah.
It's a pretty obvious one. It was an epic game. It was like
so
what,
long.
7 hours? It was long, but it needed to be.
At like 4:30 our time.
I felt like it needed to be, to do it justice, like to do the story justice. It needed to not be easy. So
yeah, it was terrifying. Like I was so stressed the entire time, but getting the final blow on the Lich was incredible.
Yep, and getting to bring your family back and have them safe. It's pretty sweet.
Yeah.
The people who went on that mission with you, it was personal, pretty much, for all of them. Has that colored Harper's opinions of those people? Was there anyone that you were like about beforehand that then, because they did that with you, or were they all there because you already had vibes with them?
I think the only one that Harper didn't feel particularly close to was Bomba.
Oh, yep.
Because they never really interacted that much.
Yeah.
But the fact that he was like, yeah, let's go rescue your family and do this, and was researching ways to bind that lich and bring it back so that Harper could interrogate it later. Behind their back, they didn't know that he was doing that until he told them. Yeah. And it was like, oh, that actually means a lot.
Yeah. He's an interesting character because he's so like quiet and goes under the radar, but actually is so powerful.
Yeah.
And kind of, I guess, because Brandon is such a clever player, he's very well built. Not necessarily in like in order to be most effective necessarily, but in order to be most bomber, if that makes sense. Like he's
absolutely,
yeah. And I think is often underestimated or feared, one of the two, as a result of that, because people either just see the power or they just see the like bumbling turtle guy. That's kind of cool. That it's like actually he does give a shit. He just doesn't tell you. He just does the thing, and then it's like, here's the thing.
Yeah.
That's kind of cool.
Which is very Bomba.
It is. It's 100% like, but also he would have interest because he at one point was considering lichdom. That was a thing. So
I do remember that.
Yep. I don't know if Harper knew that. Did Harper know that? Does Harper know that? At any point? No, I don't think Harper's ever known that.
Alex knows, but Harper doesn't.
Yeah. Yeah, it would be interesting to know whether he. Didn't think to ask him this in his one, but whether that mission changed that for him at all. But yeah. Do you have a favorite Horde moment? Anything that has happened that you're like, hell yes, this was a awesome thing. Apart from killing the lich, which we've mentioned, which I imagine would be up there. Not killing, but
yeah,
taken
subduing, down. I guess.
Yeah.
there's been so many incredible moments, some of them just really funny.
I mean,
Like,
there is a lot of funny in the Horde.
yeah. There are moments that you just don't expect them to be that funny because you deliver the line with a deadpan.
Yep.
Like, there have been moments from me when I've been saying something and my brain bails out halfway through the sentence.
Yep.
There's one
That
that I
happens
can
to me a
remember,
lot.
which was when we were in the elemental game. I said something along the lines of, "I am not a fan of the floor."
Yep. Which out of
I think
context
I
makes
was,
no sense, but the floor
yeah,
was lava.
yeah. And the
So yeah.
Harper's not very athletic or acrobatic.
Yeah.
So,
But has owls. So that's okay.
yes. Can
You had owls
summon...
at that point, right? The owls were already a thing. Or did they
Yes,
come
yeah.
later? Yeah.
They were a thing at that point.
Yeah.
The carrying capacity of 9 ounces.
Correct. That's pretty great. What about Harper? Does Harper have a favorite moment from their time in this place, this weird place?
I think one of the ones that probably stands out to them, other than the lich,
Yeah.
is on the Mad Nose mission.
Mm-hmm.
It was very effective with those counter spells.
The spell. I hate that spell.
Was
I
it
hate it.
mass suggestion and firestorm? I think were the
Something
two
like
spells.
that, yeah.
Yeah.
Ah.
Abjuration Wizard does counter spell really well.
Yeah, it's true. Hence the anti-magic shield with the lich. I was like, nah.
If I don't get magic, none of you get magic.
Let's see how you feel when your magic is taken away. Um,
Very helpless.
yeah, it was honestly. It's one of as a DM, it's one of my favorite moments because none of you had predicted it at all, and the moment of just sheer panic on everyone's faces as it happened was just DM joy. DM joy. It's so nice when you get something that people don't see coming. It was good for me. It may not have been good for everyone else, but it was good for me.
It's not good for my heart rate.
Amazing. Well, I didn't think it should be easy. Anyway,
That's why we brought an Eclipsus.
yes, indeed. In the future missions, I'm not sure how many you have booked coming up, but is there any
3?
just the
my dark
most
card is
you're
full.
allowed? Is there anything you're particularly looking forward to?
Oh, the Archmage's Tower.
Yeah, you've been eyeing that one for a long time. You and
I
Bumper
know.
both.
We've
Why?
both been like staring at it. It's a wizard's tower. It's going to be full
Yes.
of cool shit. And also, I like fighting other spellcasters because that's where Harper is the most useful. Because like they can effectively buff their companions and deal some damage with their spells, but they're very much crowd control and specifically spellcaster control.
Yep.
So when they're in like a situation where there's just a lot of melee combatants, they're kind of useless at times.
Yep.
I think Harper might have been level 7 or 8 before they had any leveled spells that did damage.
Wow.
It was just cantrips.
Cool. All right. That's going to be an interesting game. Because it's been there a long time. Like we've been sitting on that one for ages, waiting for people to get to the right level to deal with it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And now I think it's 4 casters, Eclipsus and Grath.
Yep.
It's going to be interesting.
It is going to be very interesting. I'm looking forward to it. Is there anything that we haven't done that you would like to see? I love this question because I get awesome ideas for future missions. Like we've done a lot of things at this stage, but is there anything that you're like, I would love to do this kind of mission and we haven't done it yet?
A beholder. I would like to find an actual beholder. Because, like, I've DM'd a lot of games and I've played in a lot of games, but I have never fought against a beholder. I've always run them.
Yeah.
And they're so much fun. And just the, like, sheer panic that you can see on players' faces is incredible.
Okay. Beholder mission. I mean, Chaos and Ruin has some Beholder stuff going on there. It's not a Beholder, but there is some Beholder stuff happening. But yeah. Okay. Beholder mission. All right. Tell me Harper's deepest, darkest secret. Come on.
They don't have many secrets that they haven't partially told.
Or something that we don't know. It doesn't actually have to be a deep, dark secret, but something that maybe people don't know about Harper that would be interesting.
Okay. The one thing they haven't really talked about that much is what went on in their life before they left, before they ran. And when they were very little, like 4 or 5 years old sort of thing, the Red Wizards of Thay, where they're from, began kind of experimenting on them with magic and using them as a test subject.
Yep.
To try and bring out their own magic.
Yep.
And it would have not been great for them. It probably would have been quite horrible. And so that's that kind of thing that they've lived with and the trauma that they've brought with them. And that's also one of the reasons why they want to talk to the Lich, is that they're like, you did this to me, I'm going to make you suffer now.
How much has that influenced the kind of magic that Harper does?
A lot.
Why? Elaborate.
It's one of the reasons why they tend to focus more on utility and on not necessarily hurting other people, but just slowing them down or impacting them negatively in some way. And so they focus a lot on abjuration magic to protect themselves and the people that they care about, and ways to influence their enemies, whether it's to slow them, like the slow spell, or sometimes a few of the spells that they're picking up are to control them. But very rarely are they doing damage. That kind of thing is only a last resort for them.
Right. That's interesting. I mean, now that you say it, it's really obvious, but I hadn't really thought about it. Because it definitely, like, it influences the way I build missions that Harper's on, because it has to some degree, because it's not going to be, I know it's not going to be, firebolt.
Yeah.
So, yeah. So, but that's an active choice, is choosing prevention over harm.
Yeah. And it is an active choice that they continually have to make as well.
Yeah.
Because one of the things that they're grappling with is not becoming what their masters wanted them to be, which was a weapon.
Yeah.
They were trying to mold them into something that they could use against their enemies.
Yep. Hence the fear that that's what the lady is going to do. Yeah.
Yeah. Because as much as, like, the lady is, in Harper's mind at least, tending towards good, if that's the road that the lady takes with Harper, it would make her no different. Yep.
So because the lady is quite vocal about, choice, like, you choose the missions you go on. You're committed to 15 missions, but they can be any of these. You don't have to, you can pick based on whatever criteria you have. And that does that help? I guess that she clearly has
definitely.
that way of thinking about things like that. She's not going, you're going to do this. She's going, these are the things I need done. Who wants to do it?
Yeah. And I think that the other thing that helps is that of the missions that Harper has been on, the people that they've been with have very much been like, we're not really going to kill anything that moves unless everything that moves is horrible.
I think that has been at least partially luck, because there are definitely those people in the Horde.
Yeah.
Although a lot of them have actually veered away from that murder hobo tendency, even the ones that started out there. So maybe the influence is, heading in that way. People, like, the Horde in general doesn't just go on wanton killing sprees that often.
Yeah, unless we
anymore.
feel it's justified, like with the
Yeah,
with the Void mission, it was like anyone
yeah,
in that tower is going to get murdered because this is horrible.
that was fun to build. She was so creepy. I
Very
was very proud.
creepy.
I was very proud of her. She was like if that the tech girl from Shiro went bad. That's what I was going for.
Entraptor, yeah.
Yeah.
I was like, it was a weird cross between Entraptor and Victor Frankenstein.
Yeah. Pretty
That was
much.
what I saw, and I was
Yep.
like,
Pretty much. Yeah.
I loved it.
Yeah. She was just like, I wonder what happens if you do this with zero moral anything at all.
Yep.
Yep.
It's like
Cool.
looking into a dark mirror for Harper.
Yeah, which I guess is interesting because Harper's been on a few of those missions where they've come up against people like that. People who have. Because you were on the Limingdosa mission too?
No, I wasn't.
No? Okay. Because that was also another character that was like Shale, the person that was trying to steal from them, was another one of those like you could have ended up there kind of.
Yeah. It's like looking into a dark mirror. It's like if you didn't actively make the choices that you do, this is where you could end up.
This is, yep, 100%. But choices are what make you who you are. So
Exactly.
Harper's family, how did that happen? Because it's an interesting dynamic. There's Harper
Yeah.
and I want to say 3, so there are 4 of you, yes, plus your mum.
Yes. Yeah.
So how does that happen in a slave? Like, tell me that story, please.
Yeah. So it's a bit of an interesting one. So Harper was born into slavery. They
Mhm.
were born there. Their mother was captured and sold into slavery about the age of 19,
Mhm.
18, 19. And very shortly thereafter had Harper.
Mhm.
So the age difference between Harper and their mother is not particularly great.
Yep.
And Kindness, one of their partners, was also born there. And Tirithal and Maya were sold to their master because Tirithal is a lot older, although still technically a child by elven standards.
Yep.
He's about 70, so older than the rest, but
Yep.
still a kid.
Yep. Age
although
is
I don't
weird
know.
in D&D. Yeah.
And also, when you're living in a situation like that,
Yep.
you grow up very fast.
In some ways, and in others not.
Yeah. And then, yeah, Maya was also sold into slavery probably about 2 to 3 years before Harper left. And it's a case of just people finding each other, finding first friendship, and like these are people that I click with, and then realizing that at some stage there is something deeper there for some of them. It's not as strong for Harper as it is for the rest of them. I think I've mentioned this in RP before, is that Harper is ace. They have no interest in sex, no interest in sexual attraction, anything like that.
Yep.
Their partners do. That's fine. Their relationship is still very strong. And it's, four people finding comfort in each other and probably a really shitty life.
Yeah. Yeah. So it's really a found family situation.
Yeah.
In many ways, yeah. With a greater or lesser degree of romantic sexual stuff thrown in for good measure. And then there are the 2 babies.
They're
children.
The babies, yes.
I suppose they're children now.
Yeah, they'd be close to a year old.
Oh, so still babies, really.
Still babies, but much less helpless than they were when they were retrieved from the lich. But yeah, so those are Maya's children.
Yep.
And she had them by their master before he became a lich. And it was actually the day that Harper ran was the day they were born.
They were born, yep. Yep.
Because they used the distraction to run.
Why?
Their thinking was if they can get out and find help, they can come back.
Okay.
And that was all they had to go on.
Yeah. Well, apparently it worked.
It did work. Yeah.
Amazingly enough.
Somehow.
Somehow they managed to get dumped in just the right place to make that happen.
Maybe their goddess was listening to them.
Maybe. DM Jax has some thoughts. Harper and Titania have no idea. That was
Yep.
just a thing that happened, and they're like, okay, weird shit happens here all the time. I mean, a mountain goat fell out of the sky, so meh.
I mean, one day Harper will ask.
Ask
Because
who?
ask their goddess.
Yeah.
Because, coming up on 17th level soon gives you 9th level spells.
Yep.
Gives you wish.
Yeah. Wish is an interesting one. We were talking about this yesterday, me and Adam, because obviously Zook and Shadow come out of one of our home games. And we were talking about Wish and whether Shadow would take Wish, and I was like, there's no fucking way Shadow would take Wish. Not a chance. Because of everything Shadow has experienced in terms of careful what you wish for has been like a theme the whole way through, and she would just be like, nah, not touching that thing.
Yep, entirely fair. Harper would mostly use it to duplicate other spells, specifically spells on the cleric spell list.
Yeah.
Because I did consider at one point taking a couple of levels in cleric.
I can see that, but I also am not sure it makes sense entirely.
No, not really. I don't
Harper.
think with their character arc it makes sense.
Yeah. But it's an interesting one. Cool. Is there anything else you would like us to know about your character or yourself in relation to the Horde?
It's nothing I can think of.
I'm trying to figure out how to ask this question without leading the answer. Do you think there is still a possibility that Harper will go bad?
It's a slim chance, but it depends on things that happen. It's like if there is a moment that pushes them over the edge, is like there is, I can get more power to protect people elsewhere, they might.
Because that would be an interesting day.
Yep. That would be the day Zook comes to kill them.
Pretty much. And probably several other people.
Yeah.
Cool. Would be an interesting story. I'm not sure if it's really. Yeah, it would take some. I feel like it would take some very specific pushing. Yeah.
Yeah.
In some ways, but cool. All right. Well, thank you for spending your morning with me and for talking about you and Harper and for doing 10 missions with us so far and being part of this thing, which is bonkers. And I still can't quite believe it's become what it has. It's amazing. Yep. And I guess we will see what happens in the next 5.
Yep.
Which will be interesting.
My next mission is the Kraken mission.
Oh, that's another one that's been on the cards for a long time. Yeah, that'll be interesting. I had to change the whole premise of that mission because it didn't make sense anymore. Cool. Well, this will air just before that mission. So if you're watching this, come and watch the Kraken mission on Twitch, like now. But for us right now, that's quite a long way in the future. Few weeks.
Like 2 weeks, I think.
2 weeks? Is it only 2 weeks?
I think it's only 2 weeks.
Oh, cool. All right. Awesome. Well, hopefully nothing too dramatically different will happen in Harper's life in the next 2 weeks, because that's been happening to me a lot with these interviews. I do the interview and then 2 days later something dramatic happens. So we'll see. Yeah, thank you for being part of this and everything.
Thank you for making this.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like I just built a scaffold and then everybody else filled it in, to be honest, but I suppose.
We couldn't have done it without the scaffold, though.
Yeah. Awesome. If you're watching, thank you for watching and also being part of this, because if you're watching, you are also part of this. And come and watch the Kraken on Twitch. We love you, everyone in the world, very much. And we will see you next time.